Hello, YouTube. Oh, I know that it has been so long since I have really posted anything on my YouTube. Sorry this one's so dark. It is nighttime. Last few months have been pretty crazy. Well, the last 6 months almost have been extremely hard emotionally, and mentally for my family. We've had, just even before COVID even started, we've had 4 deaths in the family. My father-in-law passed away on January 10th after an almost 6-month long battle with an extremely aggressive tumor that was in his mouth. It was carcinoma, squamous cell, something or other, I don't know. Cancer. When they found it, unfortunately, it was already way too far advanced for them to successfully remove it and give him quality of life. This monstrous thing grew so fast and tore such a amazing grandfather down. And that was the first of our pretty crazy intense year for 2020. Even if you know someone's really sick and they're not going to get better, it's still so hard to see them go. I remember when we got the phone call that he had passed away, I didn't say anything. I didn't know what to say. I was just completely shocked. Pretty intense. Maybe a week or two after that, my husband's uncle passed away, whom he had spent a lot of time with as a child, so we went to that funeral. And after that, we saw my mother-in-law, who I'd not seen in over 6 years, almost over 7 years. Finding out she's living on a dairy farm out like 2-3 hours north of us. So it was nice for her to get to meet her youngest granddaughter. We got to learn about dairy farming, which was kind of cool. Shortly after that, my husband's aunt passed away, and that was kind of upsetting because nobody really knew what was happening, because she had a husband who didn't want to tell anyone, even when the funeral or any of that was. So none of the family was able to be there for any of it, which was extremely crushing for my husband and the rest of the family that loved her. I personally never met her, but kind of hard seeing someone you love deal with pain like that. And then on March 6th, I got a call from my brother saying that my dad had passed away. And of course, this is going to be the hardest one for me, because I don't know if I've ever put it on my YouTube, but I was adopted. I was adopted with an older brother when I was 6 months old, and I was adopted into a loving home. And I remember all through my life my mom telling me that my dad chose me, and when he met me, he fell in love with me and didn't want to share me. They had met other kids before us, and I'm glad that it didn't click, because he was meant to be my dad. My dad had also been battling bone cancer, multiple myeloma, for 4 years. And honestly, he was Superman, because when they found it, he was already so far along. The fact that he managed to hold on another 4 years and still be strong for probably 3.5 of those years, he was still doing almost every single thing that he could before. And then maybe in the last, I don't know, 10 months or so, he slowly started to get sicker, which happens with cancer. I don't know how many of you know, but cancer cells can kill all your good antibodies in your body. So my dad had to receive antibody infusions every 4 weeks. So during one of his routine antibody infusions, he had a pulmonary embolism, which is basically a blood clot that went into his lungs, and he passed away pretty suddenly and painlessly, thankfully. About a week and a half before all the COVID madness started. I remember about a week later when we had his funeral, people were just starting to take precautions. The funeral home staff were wearing gloves, and we weren't hugging anyone, just on our own accord. We didn't feel that was a good idea at the time. And literally 2 days after the funeral, the city we live in was told state of emergency. Meetings have to be 50 people or less. So if it had waited any longer, we wouldn't have had the funeral. And I think that would have been a lot harder, not being able to have closure on my dad. I know I can't make this much longer. I've gone through so much recently with my family, and I'm so upset. And there's other things too, and the kids not being in school. Like, life's hard, and you don't really realize it until a whole bunch of bad things happen. Also, sometimes you get to see the true people behind the mask of, I don't know, I'm going to call it the mask of humanity. You know, the mask of your face. On some people in your family, when someone passes away, you really truly find you know, how some people are, and you get backstabbed. Unfortunately, I'm one of the lucky ones who have had this happen just recently. It's involved one of my kids. I know I said some pretty mean things too, but after years of being backstabbed and multiple promises made to me and my kids and talking behind my back, I finally voiced it, but now I'm the bad person for it. So hard. I just thought maybe if I say this and get it off my chest, maybe I'll feel better. Maybe things will turn around. Maybe tomorrow will be a better day. Anyhow, I hope everybody else is doing well. Stay safe, wash your hands, cover your mouth. Bye.